I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Good morning.
It's time to wake up.
This is Snowman in the Morning on the Arena Sports Network.
Did you not get the memo?
Let's get busy.
I could say Happy New Year. Already said that. I could say stay warm. Gonna say that often. So let me just do this the right way. Good morning! We're back. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to Snowman in the Morning on this, where if you're based here in Chicago and in the Midwest, this absolutely frigid morning. Please stay warm. If you must venture out, please dress warm because the wind chills they're talking about here are absolutely stupid. And I don't want any of the fans listening to catch any kind of hypothermia or anything like that. So please dress and stay warm if you must venture out today. Snowman in the Morning brought to you in part by Fusion Ions Bands. Fusion Ions, live your best. Visit FusionIons.com for more information, and also by Slugmaster, baseball and softball hitting and training aids. Slugmaster, turning batters into hitters. Man, we got a lot to get to this morning. The wild card in the NFL, which saw not one, not two, but three comeback wins. The BCS National Championship is tonight, the last one of its kind, as they will go to a playoff beginning after the 2014 season. A little basketball chat, a little college basketball chat from a local and a national standpoint, and a few little potluck odds and ends on this show we like to call Snowman in the Morning. You ever drink something and it just sneaks up on you? That was my morning tea. 3 minutes from now, you will hear the voice of the illustrious Rusty Silber, as he will have Rusty's morning wrap-up from the weekend, and we'll tell you what's going on. Now, tonight, there was to be a women's basketball game in Evanston, and it was supposed to be the Big Ten opener between Northwestern and Illinois. That has been postponed due to the weather. And my good friend Betsy, my contact over at NU, shot me an email yesterday. So when they have a makeup date, we will let you guys know, and we will be there to cover it. Now, still on the docket this week, tomorrow, UIC is scheduled to host Youngstown State at 7 p.m. at the UIC Pavilion. We will keep you abreast of that. And also on the docket, later this week, two games in Michigan City at Marquette Catholic as they host both Andrean. That's Saturday night at 7. And they host Bishop Knoll for first place in the Greater South Shore Conference. That is Friday at 7, and that is a special 30-minute pregame show as well. We'll talk with Coach Donovan Garlitz, who's coming off of a stinging loss to South Bend St. Joe this past Friday. They lost on a buzzer-beating shot by Garrett Sullivan, who finished with 29 points. And the Blazers lost an 18-point lead and lost by a deuce, 72-70. Let me say hello and happy belated birthday to a dear friend of mine, John Fitzgerald, who worked at Marquette Catholic with me over the course of the fall when we were covering volleyball, a.k.a. Fitz. He celebrated his birthday over the course of the weekend. So, Fitzy, happy birthday to you. Hope it was a great birthday, and hopes for many, many more. Looking at some of a lot of events that were scheduled for today have been wiped out they've either been postponed or they've been canceled due to the weather, and I can't say that I blame them because I tell you what, man, it cold. It is absolutely bleeping cold, and to say bleeping cold would be an absolute understatement. It's 5 beyond the hour, and it's about that time, folks. It's time to let you know what happened in the world of sports, in this case, over the course of the weekend. And to do that, I have a good friend of mine. His name is Rusty Silber with Rusty's Morning Wrap, presented by TCF. Good morning, Rusty.
Good morning, Brian. Where's the heater at?
You know what? We need a couple of heaters considering how cold it is, man.
Oh, we haven't seen something like this in about 17 years.
Yeah.
18 years. Well,
Woo.
quite a while.
Mercy.
But let's try to heat things up if we can with the sports. I'll see what I can do with this. Morning, Brian. Everybody, welcome to a frigid Monday morning after a snowy weekend. Rusty's Morning Wrap-Up presented by TCF Bank, the official bank of the Arena Sports Network. Blackhawks made a strong effort with a couple of third-period goals, but they saw the Sharks tie the game. Then the Hawks lost in a shootout 3-2 to San Jose at the United Center. However, the Hawks have not done well in shootouts this season. Nicholas Johnson, Michael Rosio each scored goals for the Hawks. Next game will be coming up Wednesday evening, hosting the New York Rangers at the United Center. Bulls are starting to get healthy. They're on a string of winning some games. Bulls got past the Atlanta Hawks 91-84 Saturday night at the United Center. Mike Dunleavy led the way with 20 points. Bulls played the game without Carlos Boozer, who was out with a knee injury. Bulls have won 5 of their last 7 and will next host Phoenix tomorrow night at the United Center. College basketball, Northwestern lost to Michigan 74-51. Illinois State over Southern Illinois 68-48. And Loyola topped Missouri State 89-57. College football, the GoDaddy.com Bowl. Arkansas State over Ball State 23-20 last night in Mobile, Alabama. This evening, the BCS championship game. The last time we call it that, Florida State takes on Auburn in Pasadena, California. The NFL wildcard playoffs, boy, they were wild over the weekend. Packers playoff run, the latest of one game, and they lost to San Francisco 49ers 23-20 at Lambeau Field. The New Orleans Saints got past the Eagles 26-24 in Philly. San Diego Chargers stunned the Bengals 27-10 in Cincinnati, and the Colts rallied from a 28-point deficit and beat their opponent, the Kansas City Chiefs, 45-44. Divisional playoffs next weekend, Saturday, New Orleans at Seattle, and Colts will visit the Patriots in New England. Sunday, San Francisco at Carolina, and San Diego travels to Denver. Golf, the final round of the Hyundai Tournament of Champions in Kapalua, Hawaii. Oh, is it nice out there? We'll be going out later on the day. You know, it's 80 degrees every day with sunshine.
I know.
Doug Simpson, Dustin Johnson, Justin Smith are all tied at 14 under par after 3 rounds. And lastly, Brian, I don't know if you heard this last night, Southern Illinois men's basketball team was stranded on Interstate 57 in Illinois because of blinding snow.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
they had planned to stay on the bus all night. The Smokies were returning from Normal after their game. They were 2 hours out from their home in Carbondale when the bus driver decided to pull over and got stuck in a ditch.
Oh.
Attempts were made to get a tow. Apparently, I-57 was closed because of the blowing snow. They didn't have enough gas to stay on the bus. And the last words I got, believe it or not, by a tweet a little before midnight, is that they made their way to a truck stop where they were comfortable and staying put overnight.
Okay, good. As long as they were safe, because the weather's is.
That was the last report I got before midnight.
Yeah.
Rusty Silver for the Arena Sports Network, and don't forget to visit TCF Bank for more information.
All right, let's hope they continue to be safe. Thanks a lot, Rusty. I will talk to you tomorrow morning.
All right, have a good day. Bye.
Have a good day, Rusty. That's Rusty Silber with Rusty's Morning Wrap. And as you heard, it's presented by TCF Bank, the official bank of the Arena Sports Network. A pause for a break. And when we come back, we will break down the wildest of the wild cards. And, brother, they were absolutely wild. Snowman in the morning on the Arena Sports Network and the arenasportsnetwork.com.
ask you a couple questions?
Okay.
Saving money, what's it like for you?
Well, I'm an artist, so it happens sporadically.
But it does happen?
It does happen, and when it happens, it feels really, really good.
With easier savings at TCF Bank, what would you save for?
Oh, clothes and shoes.
Housing repairs.
To buy a new car.
I'm saving for grad school.
And then I'm hoping to just save up, just to have savings, period.
What would make it easier to save money?
Having like a sugar mama.
Which isn't a bad plan, but if you needed a banking plan or something, what would make it easier?
Something with an
automatic transfer?
Something with an automatic transfer, probably.
So you wouldn't even notice the money?
Automatically transferred.
Automagical.
Automagical, oh my gosh.
How much could you save if saving were actually easy? Open an account at the home of free checking today and find out. For locations and more information, call 1-855-OPEN-TCF or go to tcfbank.com. TCF Bank. Surprisingly simple. Member FDIC.
How do you turn a batter into a hitter? With Slugmaster Hitting Stations. Slugmaster Hitting Stations are the most effective and durable baseball and softball batting practice devices available. Versatile, compact, and easy to use, they are excellent tools for ball player at any skill level. Attached to any pole or post for an instant hitting station. Use it at the ballpark, at home, or anywhere you want to get some hits in. Work the strike zone, top to bottom, in and out. The most complete workout year-round, indoors or outdoors, teams or individuals. Slugmaster equipment is constructed from high-grade steel. The rugged design means years and years of use. Slugmaster equipment is used by youth, high school, college, and professional ball players. For more information or to place your order, call 708-705-7354 or visit slugmaster.com. Slugmaster Baseball and Softball Hitting Aids, turning batters into hitters. Hey, Josh, wake up. Wake up, I said. Snowman in the morning back at you, 12 after the hour. Glad you're joining us on this frigid day. And when I say frigid, I mean just that. Snowman in the morning, presented by Fusion Ions Bands. Fusion Ions, live your best. Well, gonna make a change here on Snowman in the morning, because at least for the next couple of segments, and it's gonna be worked in, I have a partner to help me break down the wild card playoffs. You heard this gentleman before. He's talked basketball with me on the show. He doesn't know this yet. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet, but I have a little surprise for him. Joshua Lopez now joins me on the Gigahertz hotline. Good morning. You don't know the surprise I have for you yet, do you?
No, not yet.
Well, I do have a little surprise for you. I'm gonna save it for a little bit. I'm gonna save it for a little bit. But let's get down to business. And folks, if you did not watch any of the wild card games this weekend, they were absolutely wild. But we're gonna start in Cincinnati, where the San Diego Chargers beat up the Cincinnati Bengals 27-10. Phillip Rivers threw for 155 yards. Andy Dalton threw for 334, but he threw 3 costly interceptions, which the Chargers turned into 17 points, and they move on to face the top-seeded Denver Broncos in the AFC Divisional Playoffs. Let me turn to my partner, Josh. What's your take on that Cincinnati game on Sunday?
Man, it's like that saying that, you ride with the whole team no matter what the matchup is.
Yeah.
It's proven wrong this whole weekend. Big props to San Diego. I really like their team. Underrated. They got a great defense, and man, Andy Dalton
You still with me, Josh? I think I'm gonna lose Josh because our connection's messing up here. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna reset that connection. I'll have Josh rejoin me on the hotline in just a moment. But you heard him mention ride with the home team no matter what during the playoffs, and that just simply was not the case. As 3 of the 4 wild card games went to the visiting team, which is the wildest thing of all. That's why they call it the wild card. San Diego once again wins 27-10 over the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals once again one and done in the playoffs, and I've lost Josh, unfortunately. Well, we'll continue on. Here's the thing about the game. About the game in Cincinnati, and I said this on Friday. Cincinnati is not ready to host a playoff game. They have not won a playoff game since 1990. And the last team they beat in the playoffs, the Houston Oilers. Josh Lopez hopefully will come back on the line with me in a couple of minutes to help me break these down. But be that as may, Cincinnati, for some reason, and I went back, I made a reference to their game in the 2005 playoffs against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I believe that was a wild card game as well. Cincinnati had all the momentum. They were undefeated at home that year, and Pittsburgh came in and surprised them. San Diego did the same thing to one of the highest scoring teams in the NFL. And they used they used something that teams do not use anymore. You with me, Josh?
I'm here.
Okay. San Diego used a weapon, and it is indeed a weapon given the state of the NFL right now that teams do not want to use anymore, and it's called a running game.
Oh, man, that's been their offensive strategy for the last 5 years. Even back in the LaDainian Tomlinson days.
But why was Cincinnati so surprised? Because it just seemed like they were so surprised knowing what San Diego brought to the table, knowing what offense they were going to run, and they still couldn't stop them.
This game reminded me of that tie they had in Miami earlier in the season.
Yeah.
It's like no drives could be finished. I mean, barely hanging on to the game. Like I was trying to say earlier, Andy Dalton had like one of those Rex Grossman games, and it's like, okay, everybody wants to bash Jay Cutler for his track record against the Packers and in the postseason, but look at Marvin Lewis. He has not won a football game as a head coach in the 11 years he's been with the Bengals.
Yeah, he's 0 for 6 in the playoffs, counting yesterday. And here's another thing. I made a reference, and again, I'll bring this back again. I made a reference to 2005. Same situation. Cincinnati had all the momentum. They had just clinched the AFC North, and Pittsburgh came in and surprised them. The same thing happened yesterday with San Diego, and Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati the same way. And Pittsburgh rolled that all the way to the Super Bowl. Now, with the surprise of the playoffs being out of the way, how much momentum do you think the Chargers have going into Denver next weekend?
Well, just going off their last matchup they had against each other, they lost in San Diego. I think it was 34-20. And then earlier in the season on Thursday night, the Chargers gave the Broncos their first home loss. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not going to go over the board here, but maybe for a little while, Phil Rivers has some Joe Flacco in him.
We'll make our picks Friday for the divisional round of the playoffs, and San Diego, it was our first stop here on the wild card. Now, I said the most interesting game of the weekend, the most fun game of the weekend would be in Green Bay with the 49ers and the Packers going at it. And it was a fun game. But I was wrong because the most fun game of the weekend was in Indianapolis.
Yep.
When the Colts wiped out, I'm being shown a card here. Let's save that one for last. And, in fact, we're going to go to Philadelphia next. And look at New Orleans. Look at Drew Brees and the Saints holding on to a 20-7 lead. Philadelphia comes back, leads 24-23, but Drew Brees, as cool as the other side of the pillow, took him down and got the winning points, 26-24. The final, Drew Brees learned a lesson from his last playoff game in Seattle 3 years ago.
Yeah, man, what a great game, man. I wonder what's more compelling, the fact that Rob Bryant outcoached Chip Kelly, or the fact that, it's like any quarterback, once you get pressure on you, you can fumble in key situations.
You know what? And then the other interesting thing, and you said it, you just said it a moment ago, that Rob Bryant outcoached Chip Kelly. It just seemed like this year with Philadelphia, even though they won the NFC East, and I'm glad they did, they just could not get into a rhythm offensively with all the ballyhoo that was made about what Chip Kelly brought to the table. If you look at that Eagles offense, Josh, they never really got into sync.
It was just like the Dallas game they had the other week. I mean, even Monty Kissett's defense got in the head of Nick Foles, and they only won out of the Dallas Stadium by 2 points.
Right. And now Philadelphia's season is over. You know there's going to be some tweaking there, but New Orleans moves on to play Seattle. We'll break this game down later in the week. But I'll say it again, and you brought it up a moment ago, the road teams had a lot to do with this wild card weekend. And speaking of the wild card, our next stop will be in Green Bay, where the San Francisco 49ers took on the Green Bay Packers for a second time this season and a second straight year in the playoffs. Josh, going into that game, how did you feel?
I guess maybe that you get a late Christmas gift.
Why is that to be?
Because I'll be honest with you, I can't stand both teams. But it was.
Yeah, because you were messing with my 49ers all season long, man.
Hey, but I'm consistent with that. So
yeah.
I like these Chicago fans.
Hey,
Packers
as
fans.
much as you were messing with my 49ers, I was messing with Cowboy fans all year. I was messing with Packer fans all year. Hey, so it's consistent across the board. But going into this, so going into this weekend, how did you feel about that particular game? What was your key factor going in?
My key factors was how Colin Kaepernick was going to handle not only the weather, but key third down situations. And he basically was the main guy in the game because just like when the Bears were playing the Packers didn't stop the 49ers on third down, whether it was a running play by Frank Gore, a little slant route to Michael Crabtree, or even in the last drive, Colin Kaepernick running like nothing for 8 yards. And just good coaching. Always good coaches I can tell, like Bill Belichick or Jim Harbaugh or Pete Carroll, know how to use the clock. Sometimes it looks like they run the ball too much.
Let me throw two numbers at. Let me throw two numbers at you. Last year, 13 carries, 181 yards, plus a touch for Kaepernick on the ground. This year, 7 carries, 98 yards, and I'll throw a bonus number at you. 6 for 8 on third downs was Kaepernick alone. And 5 of those 6 times he converted a third down with his legs, including 3 on the game-winning drive that got the 49ers the winning field goal, and they went 23-20. So, as you mentioned, Jay, a lot of questions surrounded Kaepernick and how he would perform because last year the game was in San Francisco and this year the game was in Green Bay with sub-zero temperatures. And I'll tell you what, this 49ers run game was just as lethal in the cold as it was in the stick a week ago against Atlanta.
It's just like that 88 championship game with the 49ers and the Bears. Bears couldn't stop them no matter how cold it was.
Yeah, and I made a reference to that Friday when we did the Web 4 Pigskin Picks, and we'll do it again this Friday. But again, you just have to figure, and I know you're going to hate me for saying this. I'm joking as I say that, of course. I know you're going to hate me for saying this, but you have to figure, Josh, that if any team has all the momentum considering the question marks they had midway through the season, it would be San Francisco, and they proved it yesterday.
Yeah, I agree with you, but as opposed to the other couple teams that won the Super Bowl a couple years ago, I mean, yes, San Francisco did get on their winning streak in the middle of the season, but can they honestly grab 13 or 14 consecutive wins to win a title, though?
You know what? You know what?
This team has a lot of great testful fortitude, so I do have a lot of respect for their defense. It's just I question if the offense could contain as much points as the other teams are going to play the rest of the season.
Well, I question if the defense is, considering the fact that the 49ers gained momentum throughout the course of the season, I question if the defenses that will face them are going to be able to stop this running game because of a key factor. The 49ers are now healthy. Remember, when Carolina and San Francisco got together 7 weeks ago, the 49ers were minus Crabtree, and they were also minus Manningham. And their running game, their run game was not at its peak. Right now, the running game has really gotten its act together, and you have to wonder if Carolina is going to be able to figure out what the 49ers have figured out. Let's go to Lucas Oil Stadium for the most fun game of the weekend and the most surprising results. Well, not too surprising if you follow the Chiefs and the Colts seasons throughout the course of the year. The Chiefs led 38-10. 38-10. And not a single person in Lucas Oil Stadium left because they knew the Colts had something up their sleeve. And one turnover started an avalanche of points by the Colts, and the Colts won 45-44. And, Josh, you'll have to agree with me when I make this statement. As Kaepernick was a key with the 49ers yesterday, Andrew Luck was the big key for the Colts on Saturday.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's the same thing, man. A lot of teams didn't execute on building momentum even when they had the lead. I mean, even when Green Bay had the touchdown in the third quarter, they got stopped on a couple of drives and barely squeaked out a field goal in the fourth quarter. But, yeah, going back into the Colts and Chiefs game, man, think about what would be worst collapse in playoff history for at least on the Missouri side of things. But I wouldn't relate it to Bartman, but it's not as big of a magnitude. But, I mean, come on now. You're up 28 points in the third quarter, and you can't put a team away.
Here's the problem with Kansas City. All the ballyhoo was made about Andy Reid and how he was going to turn that defense around and make them one of the better defenses in the NFL, and everybody was crowning Kansas City, sorry, Dennis Green, when they were 9-0, and they were 2-5, 2-5 the rest of the way. What y'all don't realize in a 16-game season, that teams can peak at the wrong time. In my opinion, that was the Kansas City Chiefs when they peaked at 9-0 and squeaked past Buffalo because Buffalo and two other teams had a good chance to beat them. Now you go on the road to Indianapolis, and the 2 games they lost to Denver and the game they lost to Indianapolis to close the season, or the next to last week of the season, is the reason, Josh, that the Colts had the home game for the wild card instead of the other way around.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts got on a little run.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
I was telling you earlier when the Colts actually went into Kansas City and did that stomping of Kansas City in their home building. I mean, they beat Denver, they beat San Francisco, they beat Seattle. I would not be surprised if they catch New England off guard.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I would not be surprised either. That's our wrap-up of the Wild Card Weekend. Josh Lopez joins me. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, Josh and I are going to talk a little basketball, old school basketball. I'll explain in 2 minutes. Snowman in the Morning on the Arena Sports Network and thearenasportsnetwork.com. Come on back.
iGo Car Sharing, dedicated to creating a robust and seamlessly integrated transportation system that's ubiquitous, convenient, and affordable for individuals, and provides the region with expanded economic development opportunities and exemplary environmental performance. Since its inception in 2002, iGo has worked to catalyze a set of transportation innovations that make it feasible and desirable for Chicago residents to get around conveniently and economically without having to own a car, and at the same time reduce vehicle miles traveled and greenhouse gas emissions. A mobility system that is independent of private car ownership, requires solutions that use resources efficiently, saves residents money, and decreases the individual and regional ecological footprint. It allows residents to easily choose between multiple modes of transportation to move from point to point quickly, inexpensively, and conveniently. Innovative information technology can integrate both trip planning and service payment across all types of transit, including rail transit, commuter rail, local bus, bus rapid transit, and more. Visit us online at igocars.org and find a location nearest you. iGo Cars, Chicago's only hometown nonprofit car sharing company.
You do a lot of thinking on a bike about your life, family, your dreams. One of my dreams came to me on a bike, to open up my own shop. So what happens when you complete a dream? Well, you just start thinking of the next.
Visit DrastichAgency.com or call 219-945-3040 and ask Joel Drastich how you can get all of your insurance under one roof.
This ought to wake you up. Snowman in the Morning back at you. 33 beyond the hour, 27 before the new hour on thearenasportsnetwork.com. Snowman in the Morning has its show page on thearenasportsnetwork.com, but it's going to have its own website in April, right in time for baseball. More details as we go along. Snowman here, joined by Josh Lopez, as we're talking all sorts of sports on this frigid Monday morning. You staying warm, Josh?
Yeah.
Good.
They had to cancel my show this afternoon, so I'm staying in today.
I think a lot of people are staying in today. Snowman in the Morning brought to you by Fusion Ions Bands. Visit FusionIons.com for more information. Fusion Ions, live your best. And by Slugmaster, baseball and softball hitting and training aids. Slugmaster, turning batters into hitters. Let's do the gigahertz trivia question. I'll ask the question now, then I'll give the answer later on in the show. This trivia question presented by Gigahertz, the official computer solutions company of the Arena Sports Network. Now, Josh, if you know the answer, do not shout it out, okay? Don't shout it out yet. In NFL playoff history, only one quarterback owns 3 400-yard games. Let me say that again. In NFL playoff history, only one quarterback owns 3 400-yard playoff games. Who is that man? Give the answer later in the show. That's our Gigahertz trivia question, and it's presented in part by Gigahertz. Now, let's stay on the subject of football. We're just going to talk some basketball. We're going to save that for later. Let's stay on the subject of football, and we'll go to the college ranks. When tonight, it's the BCS National Championship. Top-ranked Florida State, second-ranked Auburn. And, Josh, I will tell you, at the start of the season, nobody, and I do mean nobody, expected Florida State and Auburn to wind up in Pasadena for the national championship. And that's exactly where they are. They earned those 2 spots with the wins that they had throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, you heard it. So, unlike these other teams that get a highly slotted the BCS and last week, Clemson, a great game. I got last week, the Orange Bowl. They
beat up Ohio State, didn't they?
Yeah, Jim Moss.
I think I'm going to lose Josh again because our connection's acting stupid. You still with me, Josh? Yeah, we're gonna lose him again. So I'll have Josh come back in a couple of minutes. Here's how I see the BCS going out. The BCS has had a lot of naysayers throughout its 17 seasons. But they produced some hellified championship games, man. I mean, hellified championship games. Who could forget? Well, look at the very first one. Look at the very first one with Florida State and Tennessee. Florida State was heavily favored, and Tennessee did the deed and won the national championship. Of course, let's go back to 2003 with Miami and Ohio State. Miami was heavily favored, and Ohio State won. And my favorite one of all, 2005 with not Ohio State, with Southern California and Texas. Now, I bring that one up for a couple of reasons. Number one, like I said, it's my favorite national championship in the BCS title run. And secondly, it produced an offensive performance by both teams, more Texas than USC, that really pitted number one and number two together. And it's the same thing tonight with Florida State and famous Jameis against the miracle of Jordan Hare and the Auburn Tigers. Now, I'm going to pose this to the folks here. Aside of the obvious question, which is which way you're leaning, we'll pose that in a minute. Give your answer to Facebook.com/snowmaninthemorning or tweet your answer to @snowmorningshow when I pose this question. Are you surprised that Florida State and Auburn are playing for all the marbles tonight? I think Josh is back on the line with me. You with me, Josh?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me good? Brian? You hear me good?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, cool.
We're going to fix it. We're adding a couple of elements to the show, and we're working out the kinks as we go along, so bear with this, folks. In the BCS era, Josh, what was your favorite national championship game?
My favorite national championship game was the game between USC and Texas.
I knew it.
In 2005, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was it.
Either that one or going back to some old stuff I watched on ESPN. I think it was a Rose Bowl between Northwestern and USC.
Oh, there you go. Yes, we've worked Northwestern in the conversation. But my favorite –
Johnson?
Yes, but my favorite BCS title game was USC in Texas because everyone just expected Southern Cal to roll over Vince Young and the Longhorns after the Longhorns rolled over Colorado in the Big 12 title game. And Vince Young put on a performance for the ages. And, in fact, it led him to be the only quarterback in the BCS era to win 2 consecutive Rose Bowls, in 2 consecutive years. And that's a trivia question I've posed a lot. Snowman in the Morning, presented by Fusion Ions Bands. Fusion Ions, live your best. I'm joined by Josh Lopez as we break down the BCS matchup tonight. All right, Josh, take a look at tonight's national championship game. You got famous Jameis in Florida State, and you got the Miracle of Jordan-Hare in Auburn. And I've said it before, 2 teams that no one expected to play for the national title. How do you see this game tonight?
I actually see this game being close. I mean, they had a couple of weeks off to relax, simmer down. I know Jameis Winston and Florida State have a great offense, but don't fool yourself. They got a really good defense as well. Same thing goes for Auburn, and I really think this game's going to be close, but I'd definitely say this is going to be one of the better national championship games of the last couple of years.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, wasn't there one a couple of years ago where Alabama blew out somebody?
Well, last year Alabama blew out Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, they absolutely blew out Notre Dame. And then a year prior to that, they shut out LSU in the national championship game. But I agree with you. This is going to be a close game. And that's part 1. Part 2, I wouldn't be surprised if this is an offensive shootout because of the way these 2 teams can put points on the board. But the game that got Auburn to this national championship, or the play, I should say, that got Auburn to this national championship, and I think the folks know where I'm going. When they played Alabama, and everyone just expected Alabama to roll over Auburn at Jordan-Hare Stadium, and it did not happen. And the bad part is Auburn hung with Alabama. I mean, hung with them. And then Alabama got the ball, had a chance to win, and then anybody who knows what happened, they know what I'm about to do. When Alabama tried a 57-yard field goal or 56-yard field goal, this happened.
So I guess if this thing comes up short, he can field it and run it out. All right, here we go. 56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis.
Oh, my God.
Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God.
Have you ever seen a finish like that, Josh? Ever?
Oh man, one of the greatest sports moments ever. I remember being a kid when Joe Creedy hit the game-winning homer against the Indians in the Central for the White Sox.
Yeah,
I think of that. I also think of when, of course, Michael Jordan's buzzer beaters in the finals. And it was at the right time. It could have happened to a better team, though. Everybody ripped them off against all the favorite teams that they were playing.
Right.
And they shut them up.
They really did. That was Rob Bramblett, the voice of the Auburn Tigers, on the call, and that sound and that clip, courtesy of the Auburn IMG Sports Network. Thank you to the good folks there. But that play is the reason, or one of the reasons, but the biggest reason that the Auburn Tigers are in the national championship game. That miraculous finish. But were it not for a play 2 weeks prior, they wouldn't have been in position to play Alabama for all the marbles and get to the SEC championship game. A week ago against Georgia, this happened.
All right, here we go. 4th and 18 for the Tigers. Here's your ball game. Nick Marshall stands in, steps up, going to throw downfield, just a home run ball, and it is tipped off. And Lewis going on the deflection. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Touchdown Auburn. Touchdown Auburn. A miracle in Jordan Hare. A miracle in Jordan Hare. 73 yards, and the Tigers, with 25 seconds to go, lead 43 to 38.
When has a team not had not one but two miracle plays in their season define their season and get them to where they are? That's what I saw with Auburn this year. Meanwhile, on the side of the Florida State Seminoles, they just blew everybody out. They didn't care who they played. They didn't care who was across from them. They said, we're going to knock you in the mouth. We're going to knock you upside the head, and you're not going to beat us. They just blew it.
It started when they had the bowl game against NIU last year.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And it's carried them all the way to this point. And the Heisman Trophy winner, Jameis Winston, carrying his Seminoles into the national championship. Has it been too easy for Florida State? And I think I just lost Josh. I did. Lost Josh again. We apologize for the connection issues. Like I said, we're introducing a couple of new things. We're going to work them out as we go along. But did y'all think that it was too easy for Florida State, or is Florida State that good? I'm inclined to think the latter, that Florida State is that good. They really, really are that good. Now, you heard Josh say, and I'm trying to get him back. I don't think I'll be able to. You heard Josh say that it's going to be a close game. And it is going to be a close game. And I wouldn't be surprised, as I added, that if it's not a high-scoring game, because you're talking about two offenses that can put some points on the board, okay? 34 against Alabama for Auburn, 43 against Georgia, and then 45 against Missouri to close out the SEC championship. That's just plain crazy. What are your thoughts about the national championship game, folks? Tweet your thoughts to @SnowMorningShow and @ArenaSports13, and we'll try to read some of the responses on the air tomorrow. But again, what are your thoughts about the national championship? Due for a break. When we come back, we'll give the answer to the trivia question, and what we will also do is have our question of the day, and that is in 2 minutes. You're listening to Snowman in the Morning on the Arena Sports Network and thearenasportsnetwork.com.
Want to get your rankings in the truest form? Want to get the best college news without all the fluff? Then tune into Swamp's Collegiate Sports Show. Join Kevin the Swamp Rat Horan as he ranks all the collegiate sports, from football to basketball and baseball to cross country, soccer, and so much more. Don't forget to visit www.kevinhoranrankings.com and sign up for his newsletter buzzing across the country. So if you want the best college news and rankings and see how the pros are outsmarted, tune into Swamp's Collegiate Sports Show. The Swamp Rat ranks them right every Wednesday night at 8 on the Arena Sports Network.
Gigahertz, providing customers with excellent service since 2008. Computer problem? Leave it to the staff at Gigahertz, priding themselves with an unparalleled work ethic and continuing to offer customers the lowest prices around. Gigahertz services include PC repair, networking, PC setup, custom PC builds, pickup and delivery, in addition to in-home and in-office service. Get small to large business solutions, service contracts, and much more. Computer problems? Gigahertz. And that's where we come in. Gigahertz. Gigahertz for your computer repair and solution needs. In-home, in-store, wherever it's convenient for you. Think your PC's infected? Gigahertz offers free virus diagnostics with most virus removals done in 48 hours or less. Plus, they'll optimize your PC. Take that, Best Buy. Give Gigahertz a call. 219-218-9323. That's 219-218-9323. Or log on to gigahertzpc.net. Gigahertz, and that's where we come in.
My name is Matt Rencars, and I'm the founder of Fusion Ions. We are so confident that you're going to love our bands. We want you to try one risk-free so you can see for yourself how powerful these bands really are. Don't wait. Go to FusionIons.com to find out how you can receive your very own free Fusion Ions band. Take advantage before they are gone. FusionIons.com. That's FusionIons.com.
Motivational song of the day. Big time motivational song of the day. Snowman in the Morning, presented by Fusion Ions Bands. Fusion Ions, live your best. Please live your best. And while I'm plugging a few things, let me make this plug. Unspoken Cures Radio will make its return this Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time. Or 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Central Time. Made a mistake on the time. Unspoken Cures with Matt Rencars and Donald Barrett, returning this Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. This portion of Snowman in the Morning presented by TCF Bank. TCF Bank, the official bank of the Arena Sports Network. TCF Bank, surprisingly, TCF. Visit tcfbank.com for more information. Josh, you with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't know what's going on, man. We're trying to introduce...
It's probably bad connection because of the weather and stuff at the phone line.
Yeah.
But I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm making the best of it.
Yeah, I think we both are. I think after this... jump on the chat with me with your thoughts while we work out this connection. But you will hear Josh in the mornings with me more often. And I said that I had a surprise for Josh, and I'm going to make this official. Mr. Lopez, you are now one of the producers of the show.
Yes. Awesome.
Now I figured that will put a smile on your face.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Josh Lopez is now one of the producers of Snowman in the Morning. He's going to handle part of the content. He's going to jump on with me from time to time, but he is going to be more involved. And let me say this as well. In 11 days' time, in 11 days' time, you will begin to hear Josh and I together as we present live coverage of the Noble Street Conference basketball tournaments. We start with the girls in January, conclude with the boys in February, and we got baseball and softball coming in the spring. So not only will you hear Josh with me in the spring, you'll also hear my good buddy Mark Farina will join me as well. So Josh, once again, I figured I'd make this official. Beginning today, you are one of the producers of Snowman in the Morning. Congrats, kid.
Thank you, man. And speaking of Noble Network, man, remember the good times we had last time at Lane Tech with that girl that couldn't stand what was going on?
Oh my gosh! And what's fun, and what's fun is that the kids get into it. You know,
yep.
The kids really get into it.
Tournament.
Oh my gosh! If y'all think anybody who was there when Josh and I did the volleyball tournament, if y'all think we were crazy then, as the song goes, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see us for basketball. That live coverage begins on the 17th with the JV championship. Yours truly will have the call for that. And then on the 18th, Josh and I will come together and begin our live coverage of the girls tournament with a triple header. More details to come. Now, let's give the answer to our Gigahertz trivia question. And it's presented by Gigahertz, the official computer solutions company of the Arena Sports Network. Visit gigahertzpc.com for your computer troubles or call 219-218-9323. Gigahertz, and that's where we come in. The question was this. In NFL playoff history, there has been one quarterback, and only one, that owns not one, not two, but 3 400-yard playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
You got a guess for me, Josh?
I'm going to go with current guy just because my pick and the stadium he played for, he garnered a lot of yards. So I'm actually going to go with Drew Brees.
And you would be right.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to bring up like Montana or Favre or something, but
here's the wild part. Montana does not own a 400-yard playoff game.
Or has he ever had a 400-yard game?
He's had a 400-yard regular season game. He's had 7 of them, but he's never had a 400-yard playoff game. With the offense he had over the years, he hasn't needed it.
Yeah, I was just having an argument about Joe Montana yesterday with my cousin.
Oh,
no.
no.
Massive Aaron Rodgers fan, and he said he's going to be the best quarterback of all time.
What was his argument again?
So, basically, you know how he had the Super Bowl season in 2011 where Packers
Yes.
had lost all their players on defense, blah, blah, blah. This could be season that Rodgers had, and going off a couple of bandwagoners from ESPN, he's the best player in the NFL. But, no, to be honest with you, but I honestly think that Aaron Rodgers is overrated. Wait, you lose to Arizona in 2009.
Yeah, in the highest scoring wild card game ever.
2012, you got it happened.
Stay with us, folks. I think we're having connection issues again. That's my partner, Josh. You still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. That's my partner, Josh Lopez. We're talking NFL quarterbacks here, but the answer to the trivia question again, who is the only quarterback with 3 400-yard playoff games? Cool Breeze. Drew Brees has done the D 3 different times, and that's our trivia question presented by Gigahertz. We're heading for the top of the second hour, and I think we're only going to have a part of the second hour because we're getting a lot of weather updates right now. I got people sending messages to me that it's just bitterly cold. So let me send this to everybody. If you must venture out, especially here in the Chicagoland area, if you must venture out, please, we beg of you, be warm and be careful. It is stupidly cold outside. And if you don't have to go anywhere, do not. All right? Please do not go anywhere if you don't have to. But if you must, please dress warm. Please dress warm. You heard Rusty talk about Southern Illinois being stuck at a truck stop. I'm just glad they're safe and hoping they made it back to their campus after being stuck on I-57, which unbeknownst to them was closed last night on their way back to campus. We've wrapped up the wild card. We're at the halfway point of our show this morning, and I want to do something with Josh before we get off the air because we're only gonna stick around for a little bit longer. And Josh, let me thank you in advance for coming on with me and also coming on with the show and on with the network as well. Let me tell you a little something about Mr. Lopez. This man puts in more hours than I do, and I'm one of the ones that manage the website right now. But what he does, he recaps all of the games in the NBA and the NHL, and he posts them on our Facebook page. What I'm going to do, if he will allow me, is to make a link on our website to those recaps and have them and have them posted there, because I got a critical statement a couple of days ago when someone said to me, it doesn't matter what you put on your website, no one is going to go to it. I can't say the way I want to say it, but what that person doesn't realize is that people do go to the website, and lots of them. But we're always looking for more, so check us out on thearenasportsnetwork.com. And in fact, being told to wrap things up, but let me get this one final thing out of the way right now. And Josh gave me this idea. We're going to expand on it as the basketball season goes on. I know we had college basketball on the docket. We've had a few more things, but given our connection problems that we've had because of the weather, we're going to wrap this up after this piece right here. Josh, I want you to answer one question for me before we get out of here. And it goes like this. If you had a man crush on somebody in the NBA right now that is your favorite player to watch, who is it?
My favorite player to watch in today's NBA?
Yeah.
Would have to be Kevin Love.
Okay. I like that answer.
I think overall balanced player,
right?
Both on the offense and defensive side.
Right.
I honestly just think that he would fit in the old era, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he would too. There's a clip that Josh sent to me, and I'll have him back on Wednesday, as we're going to talk a lot of things NBA. Mike Lyle is scheduled to join me tomorrow for the Lyle Files. I got a couple of other guests lined up as well, and I'll answer my own question before we get out of here.
Hey,
if
Brian,
there's
one more thing.
Yeah.
For anybody that was wondering why I decided to do all the recaps for the NBA and NHL and football is because we don't officially have a ticker screen on our website, and if we did, I wanted to use the articles as a easier way as you navigate your ticker screen, as opposed to when you go into Yahoo and you want to check out all the different parts of the game, you all get it in one page.
Okay. I like that concept. We're gonna work at that and really bring it into focus. But I'm gonna make that connection either today or tomorrow. As mentioned, later this week, 2 with Marquette Catholic. Friday they host Bishop Knoll at 7. We'll go up at 6:30 with a special half-hour pregame show, and then Saturday they host Andrean also at 7, both in Michigan City, and both will be on the arenasportsnetwork.com. Now, let me answer my own question. If there is a person that I had a man crush on to watch in the NBA right now, it would be Stephen Curry.
Golden State. Right with the Bay Area.
It would be Stephen Curry because of the way his game has developed. I mean, he said it. Chris Paul said it best in an interview when Curry was a rookie. When Curry was drafted, everybody kept saying one thing: he's just a shooter. He's just a shooter. He is a shooter, and he's a hell of a shooter. But at the same time, people need to notice how his point guard skills have really developed and how fearless he is in driving the lane and getting his teammates involved.
It's better than any of the crybabies in South Beach.
I think that's the best way for us to close out. And with that in mind...
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Oh, man. Wasn't that great, kid?
Abbreviated version of Snowman in the Morning. Josh, thank you for joining me. I appreciate the time, my friend.
Same here, Brian. Have a good day.
You too, my friend. Josh Lopez will join me throughout the course of the week. Tomorrow, Mike Lyle will join me on Lyle Files Live. We'll talk all things wild card, and we got a few other things to attack as well. This is Brian Snow for Snowman in the Morning, and for the Arena Sports Network, we thank you for joining us. Snowman in the Morning presented by Fusion Ions Bands. Fusion Ions, live your best. And also by Slugmaster, baseball and softball hitting and training aids. Slugmaster, turning batters into hitters. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Stay warm. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. So long, everybody.